Well, at least some women have had enough of the affections of Uncle Joe. Hi, this is Scott Ott, and this is Bill Whittle Now. And Bill, Joe Biden on the cusp of announcing his presidential run for 2020 is now getting named accusers who are saying not that he's sexually assaulted, molested, raped, or anything like that, but that he has, in some very awkward ways, expressed inappropriate affection toward them. In one case with a congressional aide, grabbing her by the neck and rubbing noses with her at a public event. In another case, holding somebody from behind and kissing their head. And of course, most of our viewers have probably seen the countless pictures of Joe giving involuntary back rubs to people and touching people in ways that would make anybody uncomfortable. And Bill, it seems that this would be a clear-cut case, but the latest woman who's making these accusations, and since she's naming herself, I'll name her. Her name is Amy Lapos. Is clearly somebody who's a big fan of having a female for president and would love nothing better than to knock one of the leading male candidates for the Democratic nomination off his high horse. Does this cause somewhat of a philosophical quandary for a conservative?
No. I say let them eat themselves. They've been doing it more and more frequently in the last 6 months or a year or so. I'm nothing that they do surprises me anymore, and no corner that they paint themselves into as a result of their virtue signaling causes me much distress.
So I guess, are there either aspects of this that should be more disturbing to most people, either the way Joe Biden has found to put his hands and other parts of his body on women, or the fact that there's a professed feminist who wants a female presidential candidate? She said, we've had 45 men, and why not give a woman a try? Are either one of those worse than the other in your mind?
Well, first of all, I think we gave a woman a try last time around. But look, it's obviously inappropriate. You can make the case that it wasn't so much inappropriate when Joe Biden grew up in the 1840s or whatever, but they're just stuck with it, Scott. They're not going to find anybody whose hands are clean in this issue. Cory Booker and all the rest of them. There's a little bit of grabby going on, and Ted Kennedy is their patron saint, So this is the party of womanizing and the party of waitress sandwiches and secretary sandwiches and all the rest. And these are just the Democrats' chickens coming home to roost. I don't know whether it's going to have an effect on Biden's candidacy. I suspect it will. And I suspect that there's going to be more of these. And then if she wants another woman, who is she talking about? Is she talking about Kamala Harris or what's her name?
Well, I don't think she's specifying one, but let me read you the comment that came from former Vice President Biden. And I will read this in its entirety, or at least as it's presented here. My source is the Hartford Courant newspaper. In my many years on the campaign trail and in public life, I have offered countless handshakes, hugs, expressions of affection, support, and comfort, and not once, never did I believe I acted inappropriately, Biden said. If it is suggested I did so, I will listen respectfully, but it was never my intention. I may not recall these moments the same way, and I may be surprised at what I hear, but we have arrived at an important time when women feel they can and should relate their experiences, and men should pay attention, and I will.
It was artfully presented. He's not denying anything. He's denying. Well, he's not. He's left himself out with that. It's kind of I didn't mean to offend you, but I'm sorry, but it's not my fault if you got offended, kind of thing. I think Joe's a pretty touchy guy, and I think he's over the 50 percentile mark as far as politicians go, and that's really saying something in terms of overall awkwardness and physical touching and so on. to be perfectly honest with you, I don't think I certainly don't think he ever had any particularly malicious intent. But I think it does say an awful lot about Joe Biden's sense of perception and situational awareness, that he's clueless as to how out of bounds this thing is, you know? I mean, as you say, we've seen a lot of this kind of just it's a little creepy. And I personally don't think that Joe Biden is a pervert on the scale of Bill Clinton, but then again, I don't know of anybody who is. So I suspect while what he's done is mostly innocent intended, it does raise an interesting question of how thick Joe Biden really is. And that is that's a different kettle of fish, but it's also, I think it indicates a lot about Joe Biden as a candidate. I don't know what there is there. I remember the big plagiarism scandal back, I want to say in the late 80s when he was running for president. I saw him as vice president for 8 years. I thought he was remarkably dense, and I thought his performance, especially against Paul Ryan, was one of the most disgraceful. Just one of the most disgraceful circus acts that I've seen in American politics. I mean, I don't despise Joe Biden with a visceral hatred, because I don't think there's really anything there that you can really get that kind of traction on.
Now, you know what's going to happen if the Democrats nominate Joe Biden, because if Republicans should raise it, will do nothing but bring up the subject of Donald Trump's own dalliances. Is it important to the Trump 2020 campaign that Biden not be in the race, or does it not matter one way or the other?
I don't think the Democrats are going to be able to come up with a candidate who's clear on any of these issues. I think if they could not find somebody left-wing enough to host the Academy Awards, that they are not going to find anybody, at least among the people who are running, who don't have some kind of history of this. And this is the whirlwind that you sow after you reap, this virtue signaling contest and this cult of victimhood. So obviously, I'd like to see Biden run. I think he'd probably be. I don't know, Scott. They all seem pretty easy to beat to me. But anyway, if we assume that Biden runs, is it going to reflect badly? It's going to hurt him. Yeah, it'll hurt him, and it's going to hurt him because they're the party of prostrating themselves. They're the party of saying that every woman is always to be believed, including Christine Blasey Ford, and they're the party of the contradiction of having Bill Clinton, known basic sexual assaulter, if not actual rapist, widely known to be having these kind of exceedingly inappropriate encounters, but under the cover of being a Democrat, which is, the ring of invisibility. So this really is their philosophy coming home to roost. I can say that what Donald Trump may or may not have done before he was president was boorish and vulgar, but I'm not beholden to this feminist cabal. If Donald Trump was boorish and vulgar towards Stormy Daniels, just as an example, I don't really much care.
So you're saying if Joe Biden is the nominee, I guess I don't know what you're saying. Let me not couch it in those terms. If Joe Biden is the nominee, do you think it's an appropriate thing for Republicans to go after this aspect of his life, or should we set a higher example to basically say, you know what, it was wrong when Hillary Clinton tried to go after Donald Trump on this basis. It's wrong to go after Joe Biden on an even milder basis like this, and let's keep this on the high ground of policy discussions.
I think the days of keeping to the high ground are long over, I'm sorry to say, but there is now an interesting tactical equation that you put here. If Biden becomes the nominee, after what they've done with Trump, I think we hit him with everything that we've got. But if it turns out that his own side is going to take those shots for us, then that's even better. Then we should shut up and take the high road. But the days of taking the high road, and the days of tying our hands, and the days of Gentleman Jim boxing by Marquis of Queensberry rules with these people, I think is over, and was over in November of 2016. They have to own. They have managed to destroy the country by holding us to our own standards of decency and morality, while holding themselves to no standards of decency and morality. And as I've said numerous times, I'm not proud of this. It doesn't make me happy. But when you're fighting people that call for medics and then, pop a grenade, you begin to understand that this is how they want to fight the fight. It's how they're going to fight the fight regardless of what you do. And you either fight them on that level or you lose. So if the Democrats have made this entire lie, the Republican war on women and all of this stuff, which blew up in their faces in 2016, if they wanted to continue telling that lie, if they want to accuse somebody like Mitt Romney of this kind of behavior, then it makes me exceedingly happy that they're calling down their front runner from within, and that whoever manages to become the front runner after Biden, if somebody does, they will have the same things to deal with that kind of person, because no one lives up to the standards of virtue that every one of these progressives has to thump their chest over in order to cover their own lack of character, their own lack of morality, and their own tawdry history in their own personal lives. So I say, sauce for the goose is, sauce for the gander. And since this is the road that the progressives want to go down, the mudslinging road of moral superiority, unearned moral superiority, if it causes friendly fire incidents, then I'm not going to be terribly upset about that.
Well, 5 days a week, Bill Whittle now brings you topics that often, as you can see here with Bill, that he doesn't relish, but he doesn't shrink from. And that's what the members at BillWhittle.com appreciate, is the plain-spoken truth and at least the attempt to rise above our humanity with a sense of common sense and decency beyond what we've experienced in politics for the most part. If you'd like to become part of the team that promotes that kind of thing and spreads it around the world, and join this fellowship of liberty lovers at the new BillWhittle.com, then you can just go to BillWhittle.com and click that Become a Member link. We'd be glad to have you. So for Bill Whittle, I'm Scott Ott. Thanks to the members at BillWhittle.com for making this possible.